If you could visit the past or the future, but nothing you did there could change what happens, would you still go? The novel I just finished reading, titled Before the Coffee Gets Cold, is set in a cafe in Japan where there is a designated seat in which anyone who sits there can travel to a point in time, either in the past or the future. However, there is a strict set of rules that the time traveler must follow, one of which is that the duration of the time travel is limited to the time it takes for a freshly poured cup of coffee to get cold. If the time traveler does not finish the coffee before it gets cold, they will turn into a ghost. I won't spoil the story, but the novel follows four people who each travel through time, and each story is tremendously poignant. Upon finishing the book, I asked myself, if I could visit any time in the past, when would that be? In a recent client meeting at work, my boss, who is a director, introduced me to the client as his colleague. His exact words were, "On this line, I have with me my colleague Sean Park." When I heard those words, it felt strange, and I found myself reminiscing about where I was about a decade ago. I remember taking an admissions test for a middle school in Korea and scoring at a level expected of a third grader. That is a whole other story I can get into another time. In just a little over a decade, I went from not being able to distinguish between the letters B and D to advising private equity firms on mergers and acquisitions transactions. That was the first time I experienced what is commonly known as imposter syndrome. I think it would be good for me to travel back to the day the 7th grade admissions test results came out so I could see and feel the progress I have made during my adolescence and remind myself that the small victories we make every day can accumulate into significant progress over time. At work, I encounter a new challenge nearly every day, and on some days, I feel defeated and ignorant for finding my tasks difficult. However, I understand that each struggle we overcome contributes to our development, and my 35-year-old self may one day look back and laugh about the challenges I faced in my 20s. Charlie Chaplin once said, "Life is a tragedy when seen in close up, but a comedy in long shot." When we find ourselves being overly self critical, we should remind ourselves to take a step back and reflect on the progress we have made. In conclusion, even if time travel could not change what happens in the present, I would still go back to the past just to see how far I have come and return with a fresh perspective on life. Enjoy the hustle and take the time to appreciate my growth.